Imagine being one of the richest companies in the world and getting sued for $1 trillion, not by competitors, not by shareholders, but by an entire country. In December 2024, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, launched what could be the biggest lawsuit in tech history against Apple. But this isn't just about money, it's about blood minerals, hidden supply chains, and decades of conflict that have cost millions of lives. If you're new to our channel, please leave a like as well as a sub so you never miss another video. In just a few minutes, we're going to show you evidence that could shake the entire tech industry to its core. But before we dive into this trillion-dollar bombshell, we need to go back 30 years in time. The origins of the ongoing tensions between the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, and Rwanda can be traced back to the events of 1994. In that tumultuous year, Rwanda was in the midst of a crisis, with the international community calling on the DRC, then known as Zaire, to open its borders and allow in the fleeing Rwandan refugees. Unfortunately, this request had unintended consequences. Along with the legitimate refugees, other individuals involved in the Rwandan genocide also slipped across the border into the DRC. The Rwandan army subsequently sought permission from the international community to enter the DRC and go after these armed members. But when the Rwandan forces arrived, they were unable to distinguish between the Rwandan refugees and the Congolese people living in the area. This led to the Rwandan army killing many innocent Congolese civilians, sparking a rise in tensions between the two nations. While operating within the DRC, the Rwandan army made a startling discovery: vast reserves of valuable minerals that had previously been unknown to the world. This was the beginning of the DRC's mineral wealth, which is now estimated to be worth a staggering $24 trillion. However, the Congolese government alleges that Rwanda exploited these mineral resources for its own gain. The president of the DRC claims that Rwanda made strategic connections within the international community, allowing it to profit from the sale of these blood minerals obtained through the use of violence and the forcible displacement of local populations. At the heart of the ongoing conflict is the Congolese government's assertion that Rwanda, and in particular President Paul Kagame, is directly responsible for the illegal extraction and sale of the DRC's mineral resources. The DRC alleges that each resurgence of the M23 rebel group, or Rwandan-backed militia, has coincided with a significant increase in Rwanda's mineral exports. This pattern, the DRC argues, is evidence of Rwanda's involvement in fueling the conflict and profiting from the exploitation of the country's natural wealth. However, President Kagame has vehemently denied these accusations, claiming that the issue of the DRC's minerals is not Rwanda's problem. The complex web of accusations and denials has only served to deepen the rift between the two nations, setting the stage for the ongoing legal battle and the DRC's $1 trillion lawsuit against tech giant Apple. The chain of events set in motion by the tensions between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, has led directly to the smartphones in our hands. Have you ever wondered why your smartphone requires specific minerals to function properly? The answer might make you think twice before upgrading your device. According to UN reports, these vital minerals are not simply mined, they are extracted under the watchful eyes of armed rebel groups. These groups use the profits from these mining activities to fund and expand the conflicts raging in the eastern Congo region. This is where the true cost of your smartphone goes beyond the dollar figure on the price tag. The DRC is estimated to hold mineral wealth worth a staggering $24 trillion, a fact that was first discovered by the Rwandan army during their incursions into the country in the 1990s. This abundance of resources, including crucial minerals like tantalum, cobalt, and lithium, has become a curse for the Congolese people. Instead of bringing prosperity, the DRC's mineral wealth has become a source of conflict, with armed groups vying for control over the lucrative mining operations. These rebels, funded by the illicit trade in blood minerals, have perpetuated a cycle of violence, displacement, and human rights abuses that have devastated the region. Every time you unlock your smartphone, you are confronted with the sobering reality that the device in your hand may be directly connected to the suffering of the Congolese people. These minerals, essential for the functioning of our modern gadgets, are being extracted at a terrible human cost. The profits from the sale of these conflict minerals have fueled the expansion of rebel groups, the recruitment of child soldiers, and the systematic rape and exploitation of the local population. The true price of your smartphone goes far beyond the monetary value. It is measured in the lives and livelihoods of the Congolese people. As consumers, we have a responsibility to be aware of the hidden costs of the products we purchase. The DRC's $1 trillion lawsuit against tech giant Apple is a wake-up call, demanding that companies be held accountable for the human rights abuses and environmental destruction in their supply chains. By educating ourselves, supporting initiatives for supply chain transparency, and putting pressure on tech companies to source their minerals ethically, we can be part of the solution. The future of our technology must be built on a foundation of justice and sustainability, not the blood of the Congolese people. The president of the DRC has always maintained that Rwanda, and particularly President Paul Kagame, is behind the illegal extraction of the DRC's minerals. Kagame, on the other hand, has blatantly refused this, claiming that it is not Rwanda's problem. However, data shows that every time there is a resurgence of the M23 rebel group, Rwanda's export of rare minerals increases drastically. In 2012, when M23 was formed, Rwanda's production of tantalum, a key smartphone mineral, almost doubled from 15% of the world's supply to 22%. What's even more curious is that Rwanda barely has any of these minerals in its own soil. As the Congolese president, Felix Tshisekedi, put it, Rwanda doesn't have even a gram of any of these minerals in its soil. So how does a country with virtually no minerals become one of the world's largest mineral exporters? The answer lies in what's known as mineral smuggling. Congolese minerals are being smuggled into Rwanda, where they are given Rwandan tax status and sold into the world market at premium prices. This is happening despite the existence of an international due diligence system that tech companies like Apple have signed up for. The OECD, an international organization, has a due diligence system that requires companies to verify their sources and respond to new information. In 2020, an organization called Global Witness released a report detailing how easily this system was being manipulated, with Congolese minerals being smuggled into Rwanda and then sold to the world market. This is where Apple's actions become particularly damning. In early 2024, the Congolese government approached Apple about these claims, explaining how minerals smuggled from the DRC ended up in Apple's products. But Apple remained silent, despite signing up for the due diligence system, which requires action when there is new information. Apple ignored UN reports that clearly stated minerals were being smuggled from the DRC to Rwanda and bought by multinational companies. They also ignored the fact that the M23 rebel group had captured the world's largest coltan mine, from which they were likely sourcing minerals. Apple's claims of having the highest standards of responsible sourcing and its environmental awards ring hollow when you consider the consequences of its inaction. Every month that Apple ignored these warnings, more minerals were being smuggled, more people were being killed on the battlefield, more child laborers were being used in the mines, and more women were being raped. There was more poverty for the Congolese people. This means that each time Apple looked the other way, they weren't just ignoring reports, they were ignoring human lives. While Apple remained silent, Rwanda's export of minerals tripled from $373 million to $1.1 billion between 2017 and 2023, all while controlling 0 active mines according to the Congolese president. It is this pattern of willful ignorance and complicity that has now led the DRC to launch a $1 trillion lawsuit against Apple. This lawsuit is not just about money, it's about holding one of the world's most powerful tech companies accountable for the human cost of its supply chain. The DRC is alleging that Apple knew about the systematic exploitation of its mineral resources, the funding of armed groups, and the human rights abuses taking place, yet did nothing to address it. By continuing to source minerals from these conflict-ridden regions, Apple has become complicit in the suffering of the Congolese people. This lawsuit has the potential to upend the entire tech industry. If the DRC is successful, it could set a precedent for other countries and communities to hold multinational corporations accountable for the hidden costs of their operations. It could also force a radical rethinking of how tech companies approach their supply chains and the sourcing of critical raw materials. As consumers, We have more power than we think. By researching the companies we buy from, supporting initiatives for supply chain transparency, and raising awareness, we can drive the change that the tech industry desperately needs. The way we make our technology needs to change. The future of the industry may very well depend on whether it can break its addiction to conflict minerals and truly prioritize ethical and sustainable practices. The DRC's lawsuit against Apple is a wake-up call for the tech industry and a testament to the enduring strength of a people who have suffered for too long. As the case unfolds, one thing is certain: the global community can no longer turn a blind eye to the human cost of our technological progress. The choice is ours, as consumers and as citizens of a connected world. Will we demand accountability and push for a more just and sustainable future, or will we continue to reap the benefits of our devices while ignoring the blood that stains their foundations? The future of the tech industry, and perhaps the world, hangs in the balance. Let your voice be heard, and let us work together to ensure that every innovation, every breakthrough, and every device reflects the true cost of progress, one that values human lives above all else. Thanks for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like as well as sub so more people can see this.